the Franklin Factor podcast. Today, I'm joined by one of my good friends, Amy Lippincott. She started a career, actually, she was a teacher before, and she started a real estate team and is now with us at EXP after several years. So I'm so excited for you to be here, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me. It's always fun to be with you, no matter what we're doing.
I know. So fun. So Amy and I actually met, I think it was 2019.
Yes.
We met in Cabo for the first time. I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I have a selfie of us when we got to Mexico. And I think like once you get off the plane, they have all the margaritas and beer, and we took like a shot together before we went to the hotel. So fun. So Howard Hughes took us on that trip back in 2019, and we met and really just connected about business and, you know, our backgrounds and everything like that. So much fun. And it's what, 7 years later now? Crazy.
I think it's going another trip this
I know.
May
Like
also.
a month.
Yeah, so excited.
So excited. So why don't you tell like our audience a little bit about your background and kind of how you got into real estate?
Okay. Yeah. I was a teacher for 16 years previously. I taught elementary PE. It was a great career. I loved it and had such a great time. But towards the end, I just thought, I don't know if I can do this the rest of my life, and wanted a change. And so I had a friend who was doing real estate, and he was doing well. And I was just thought that is something that really interests me, something different every day, new challenges, and still working with people. So I took my classes online, and then I talked to my principal into letting me job share. So I taught 3 days a week and then did real estate the other days and at night. And it was a huge blessing to my family, and it was exciting and new and something fun and something I could really, I felt like, use my skills that I had, my social skills. And so at the end of the year, I quit teaching. I moved into real estate full time.
So when was that?
2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're like almost approaching 20 years.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And everyone was like, 2008 was a terrible year. And I was like, it was the best year. I had no clue it was a bad year.
Right. That's like me. I got my license in 2007. And so I wasn't like fully, obviously doing full on real estate, but I remember like it wasn't the greatest time to join, like to get in. Now looking back, but while you're in it, you're like, you didn't know what, I mean, that wasn't the worst. Because it was better than nothing, right?
Right. I remember I got my first check ever at a closing, and it was like $8,000. And I was so excited. I had them take a picture with me. I couldn't believe I made $8,000 in one setting. It was so exciting.
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, "Are you serious? You want your picture?" I was like, "Yes, this is the best day ever."
I'm going to remember this. That's awesome. That is a really good one though.
Yeah, it's funny.
So, okay. I feel like a lot of people listening are maybe will be intrigued by this because you were a teacher, and there's so many teachers that get into real estate. Like I talked to a client yesterday who is the friend at school that they work at is a realtor. And so we're going to compete with that realtor friend that's a teacher. But so why do you think teachers are so good at coming over here? Because it's very common. I know lots of people who are teachers in their previous life.
Yes, I've hired 5 on my team.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
5.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we have 5 teachers on our team, including myself. And it's just the biggest thing is that we have really good standard practices. Like we know how to lead with the positive. We are chaos coordinators. We can keep calm in the middle of so many things going on, especially teaching elementary PE at 100 kids at a time.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We know how to be kind and patient and just develop help them to walk through holding their hand of each step of the way, because that's what we're used to. We're used to teaching things in a step-by-step way. And so those skills have just transferred over so well to real estate.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, I totally can see that because some of my teacher friends, I'm like, I don't know how you do that.
Yes.
And they're like, I don't know how you do that. I'm like, it's very similar.
Very similar. It's just adult children instead of kids.
Yes.
But much of the same, practices are in place for sure.
That's
no
great.
question is stupid. People are always like, I have another question. Great. That's what I do. Just answer questions all the time.
Yes.
Make sure you understand. And we're always looking for ways to make it just a little bit better, a little bit easier to understand, the process a little bit smoother, just like you do in teaching.
Yeah, and make people comfortable throughout like the process, right? Just like you're making a student feel comfortable like at school and through the whole year at school, right?
Absolutely.
So Amy, when you came in like 2008, you jumped in full time at real estate, essentially. Who was your first hire? Like, how did you go about? Because obviously you have a big team now, but kind of want to give the audience like a background of the team and how it started.
Yep. So I was at the bus stop with one of my neighbors. She lives one door down, and she was actually in her pajamas. And I was talking about how I couldn't do all this paperwork by myself. It was so stressful. I just needed someone to help me like manage the paperwork. And she was like, I'll help you. And I was like, what? You will? So I literally just went home with me. We sat at the kitchen table all day long and worked on getting some systems and processes in place because I was just running around like hair on fire all the time, trying to manage it all. And then we went back to the bus stop, and she told her daughter she got a job today. And her daughter looked at her because she was still in her pajamas. Her daughter looked at her. She was like, where? And she's like, I'm going to work with Miss Amy.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Yes. And she's still with me today.
Oh my gosh.
So everyone says you can't hire your friends. You can't work with your friends. But luckily for me, I've only been able to hire people who have been friends or friend of a friend or from church or from education that I knew really well. And I feel like that developed a culture for me of loyalty, and just the culture that we have is a true family instead of just a lot of business transactions.
Yeah.
So I've had Amy's been with me 17 years.
Oh my, I did not know that's how Amy. Oh my goodness.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Well, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because it's people who you trust. And, you know, if you want loyalty and you trust in them, obviously, you know, there's going to be things that happen, right? It's a people business where things happen in their lives and stuff has to change. But, you know, if you trust them and they are like solid, really good people, core values are the same and are aligned. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, we've lost some people along the way. Real estate wasn't for them, or they needed a different leadership style or things like that. But whenever someone comes in to talk to me about it, I just always tell them, I'll assume the best of you if you assume the best of me. So when mistakes happen, because they're going to, because we're all human, if you'll just come to me and tell me, hey, I think this commission is wrong or whatever it is, I'm always going to fix it. And I'm always going to err on the side of the agent more times than not. And try to make things work out
and do the right thing, right?
Always.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So then like take us over time, like growing the team. Like, were there years where you had, like, is it just every year you've kind of been growing and growing, kind of just like a gradual growth? Or was there one year where like business really got a lot more and you had to like really amp up hiring agents?
You know, we've never, I shouldn't say never. One time, I think we ran an ad for some agents when we had a couple of people move out of state or out of the city. And so then we ran some ads, but I just felt like that wasn't the way for us. And so it's really kind of been just very organic. People reaching out to me saying, I think I'm ready, or me talking to them and realizing, hey, they're at the end of their teaching life shelf at this point. They're so burned out, and I could really help them and change their family whole financial status. And so I've added them slowly over time. There's never been one year where I was like, we have to have 10 people. You know, to be a mega icon team, EXP needs you to have a certain number. So we work really hard to keep that number. But at the point we're at 11, 12, 13, 14, we never really want to go over 15. That's really what fits around our table at the office. And it's really what's manageable for me.
I love that you have this like idea, like, you know, well, any business you start and you like, you have to find the avenue that works, right? Like some people finding ads works for them. Some it doesn't, but you've kind of figured it out and like perfected it, which is great. And it really does bring like that culture, like you said. And EXP does have that requirement. We'll talk a little bit about EXP in a minute, but I love that you kind of know exactly what works. And then sometimes you're flexible, right? So you find somebody that really fits your culture and, you know, seems like they have a good work ethic, all of that good stuff, and then you'll bring them in. So but one of the things that I love about y'all's team too is that you're so involved with the community and so involved with like the schools because that's your background and stuff. So I love that, because if there is a teacher at one, you know those people already. So, you know, and word of mouth, obviously you do a lot in the community that you live in and stuff as well. So that's great.
Yeah. When I got out of teaching, I decided that would be the one thing we would do to give back to teachers. And a lot of times we took them lunch or hand sanitizer or, you know, teachers get 30 minutes for lunch, including going to the bathroom, making any phone calls they have, and heating up their food. 30 minutes is like, I remember for like a year, everyone's like, you don't have to eat so fast. I was like, but it's what I'm used to. Like you're used to just shoving food in your mouth and running and trying to go to the bathroom as quickly as possible. So we try to find the need that is for teachers, what they need in their day, and try to meet some of those needs.
That's
awesome. It's good. And then we love the community we live in. You know, we don't just sell here, we live here. It became our slogan because that's truly where I love to be. So it's been great.
I love that. That's great. So let's switch a little bit to brokerages and like the brokerages you've been with over your career. So when we met in 2019, I believe you had just switched. You were with a brokerage for a long time, pretty much your whole career, I believe. and then you had just switched to a brokerage. So I want to talk about that a little bit, because like, what made you switch? And then we can talk about, us getting you over to EXP.
Okay. Yeah. So we had been with a brokerage for almost 8 years, and we were extremely loyal to them. I probably would have stayed till the day I died, until I found out there was way more on the other side of the grass. The grass really was greener. And I went to a convention for Keller Williams and was just blown away by the convention. So came back and asked Better Homes if they would use some of those tactics and kind of the new technology that was coming, the new commission structures that were there.
That's great. I didn't know that when you went to Better Homes that you had asked them to implement some of this stuff you had learned.
Yeah.
Most of the time people go and they're like, bye, I'm going to leave. And then other brokerage tries to keep you. So I love that you came back and were just like, I found this other stuff. Can y'all implement this? Obviously, it's not something they can easily just push a button on. They can't just change commission structure. We can talk a little bit about that and why they can't necessarily do that in a little bit. But that's interesting. I love that, obviously. So then you made the switch because it wasn't, and you're like, well, there's this shiny object that I need to go and like entertain. It makes no sense for me to stay here, especially with them not being able to offer the same thing for less. Essentially, you're getting to keep more of your commission at this other brokerage. Yeah, so you went over to KW. That's right around the time we had talked, because I don't even know. I can't remember if you had already committed to KW. I think you maybe had already committed, but I was like, well, and you had already made the switch, and it was like, well, I'm not going to make the switch again.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a weekend.
I had been there 1 week when we started talking.
Oh my gosh.
And once I make a commitment, it's super hard to change. And so I was all in, committed, and I wasn't going to burn bridges or hurt feelings after that. And so what I realized after Keller Williams was that they had some great trainings and things like that, but we didn't really need any of that. We had our own in-house stuff. We had our own office. We didn't need the big box office to go into. We didn't need team meetings there. We had all that culture inside of our own office already established, and our own systems and processes that were working well for us.
Yeah, you didn't need the training. You, at the time, had already been doing business for quite some time. Yeah. So, and already doing lots of production. Right. So yeah, and then we stayed in touch, and I think we, as friends in the business and friends personally, like we just talked about like different stuff and different things going on and what was going on with each of our businesses. So when was it official that you actually came over? It was a couple of years later.
Yeah, February is our 3 year.
Okay.
So we just turned 3 with the EXP.
Yes.
And so, man, I wish that I could go back and rewind and change things and have come over, 2 years previous, but it's all in the right timing, learning and pathway that you're supposed to be on. And so, yeah, you and your dad kept in really close contact with me just as a friend, not pushy, not you have to come to EXP, not ever. I remember eating lunch with y'all and never even bringing up the word EXP. We just had good relationships. But I was still watching everything you were doing on Facebook and listening to all the things that you said about how you had stock options and about how the rev share was working for y'all. And I knew that where I was, the rev share wasn't working at all for me. In fact, I never got a check.
Because it wasn't revenue share, it was profit share.
Profit share, yes.
Which is completely different. If anybody knows about finances and running businesses, the profit is much different.
Yes.
Right.
And I did not understand that at the time. And so now, looking back, of course, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah. So. And obviously but you made the right decision to eventually do it.
Yes.
And you're loving it because you're able to take advantage of like so much stuff. EXP doesn't have the overhead that all these other brokerages have. So they're able to share that with us, whether it's stock options or, recruiting, and it's not, recruiting can sometimes be a bad word, right? It's just attracting, talking to people, building relationships. I mean, a lot of what we've done and where we've been successful is just a natural talking to people. Yeah. Oh, how's the EXP? I didn't know. Like, I'm watching what they're doing. How, and we just share the information really is what we do.
Well, and wanting the people that are around you that you love to be successful like you are. And not make, for me, I don't want those people, the 2 other lady-owned teams or women-owned teams that have come over. Like, I want them to have the same stuff I have and not sit in a place where they're not growing or not, the opportunities aren't there. So sharing it with them is just about excitement. Like, you could have more. You could be doing more and growing and making more money. Like, every year on the 1 year anniversary, my team talks about, was it a good decision? Would we do it again? Would we stay? every year it's unanimous that we've made the best decision. We're all making more money. We all have more opportunities. And it's just been a great thing.
Yeah. And talk a little bit about that. Like, it's not just the team lead that makes all better money, right? Because the commission structure trickles down for your agents.
Yep.
The stock options are available to them too. So tell us a little bit. I mean, they're able, obviously they have more opportunity because they're able to make more money and do more things, right?
I mean, the cap is so much better when they cap. They cap pretty quickly because of, we're a mega icon team, and those opportunities are out there for everybody. They're able to bring people on underneath them. They're grow their own rev share. We have opportunities to train under some of the best people that have done that, like y'all, like Kevin and Fred. Our downline is amazing. Then they can obviously utilize all the stock options. The other day we were sitting around, I was like, just open your stock options and look and see what you have. Because if you have never looked, you have no idea. I'll never forget the first time I looked. I think I'd been there a year. I'd been here a year. I opened my stock options and I had $80,000 in there. I started crying and I called y'all.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea that I had that much money in there because I've been so busy moving and changing over and doing all the things.
Selling and all the things.
And I was just in shock that that's something that I can leave a legacy for my kids. And sure, someone tells me all the time, EXP stock's not doing good. Great. Well, I'm not in it for today.
Exactly. It's a long haul.
Yes.
And it's really cool the way it was all started and like came up with this option of the stock options, because realtors don't save money. Like they live paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a 401k. And essentially, if you look at it that way, that's what the stock is. It is your 401k. So yes, I think we've talked about on the podcast, we've had people who did cash it in. Obviously you can cash in the stuff that you've purchased. You can't necessarily cash in the stuff that was awarded to you until it vests. But if it's stuff that you bought and you cash it in right away, I mean, we've had employees that or agents that went ahead and purchased like cash cars for cash, and I think it was like a Cadillac Escalade. Yeah. I mean, it's great if you need it quicker and you can, or you set it aside and forget about it. We have so many agents that we've attracted over the years that have been like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. And maybe it's $20,000. It's still $20,000 that was set aside that you'd forgotten about. Like, leave it there and wait.
Let it grow.
Let it grow. It's awesome. Yeah. I love that.
Amazing. Yes.
And that's just one of the benefits.
So the biggest benefit above all the money in the world is our downline culture.
Yes. The collaboration.
Sorry. The collaboration group culture. Y'all provide many opportunities to grow, but just this week alone, we met with another one of our teammates, and that's in our collaboration group. And Andrew met with us and discussed how to grow her team and how to, how things we could do to make 2026 a better year. And so those opportunities are out there for everyone, just like being on this podcast today is another opportunity to grow. And just the culture that is there is never about not sharing anything. I had never met Shaheen. And so when I met Shaheen, who is a big time commercial agent in this area, he has now helped my team with 3 or 4 transactions, never asked for a penny. We obviously paid him, but that was not what was important to him. What's important to him is growing us, being a support for us, and he has just knocked it out of the park with our team, like worships him.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
So cool.
Well, and that was the biggest thing with us. When we moved over to the collaboration is huge. Like we are connected with so many people. And again, the way this model was created was for everybody to benefit. So because we're all shareholders in the company, we want to keep it within the company and help others who are with us grow. And what better way to, participate stock-wise or rev share-wise, right?
Right.
And get everybody growing. So, I mean, it's like, and I feel like that's just a mindset for people, like that kind of collaborative, helpful mindset. We were at a different brokerage before for a long time where it was, nobody wanted to share anything. And no wonder it's kind of becoming an outdated model, right? Extinct, because that's just not how, it's just different mindsets, to be honest. And I think it's when we're all able to help, and it's not even just big ideas. It's just like helping. Like we'll text like, hey, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for this? Our brokerage has meetings all the time. They have masterminds all the time. You went to the one, in Austin.
So good.
Yeah. And they just share so many different ways of helping. It's really a culture like nowhere else.
It really is. And so at our goal setting meeting the last 3 years, I've had someone from our collaboration group come and speak to my team, just a different point of view. The other thing I wanted to say is a lot of times people are number one at their brokerage, but number one of what?
Right.
Really. We were number one at our other brokerage for years and years, which was always a great honor. But I never want to be the smartest person in the room or the best person in the room, because where can you grow to? You have to have some bigger expectations. And so here at EXP, I'm surrounded with people who are killing it, 10,000 times more than we are. And so it's always great to look at other people and say, oh, I want to be like them, or they have this great system of doing it, and I want to do that also. I can implement that for myself.
Exactly. Yep. And it's all about growth, right?
It is.
If you're growth minded, if you're not growth minded and don't want to grow and are happy at a different brokerage, then maybe that's for you.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I love about EXP, because we all have that growth mindset, and the people who are here have that same, everyone's aligned with wanting to grow.
Yep.
So that's great.
I totally agree. And everyone says yes. I've never had anyone say no. I recently had a situation where I was trying to recruit someone to the team, and it was not going to work out. But I had a lot of questions about it. And so Holly Mabry, who is...
Yes.
What is her job title?
I don't even know. Way high up.
Big in EXP, picked up the phone and was talked to me for 45 minutes one day, talked to me for another 30 minutes the other day to help me understand, why this wasn't going to work out. And a soft no is always better than a hard no. And then I literally saw her at the mastermind and went up and told her who I was.
Oh, yes.
We hugged forever. And just I feel like I made a personal connection with somebody who is super high up at EXP, but she actually knows my name and cares about me. That's
took
huge.
the time, right?
Yes.
That's like Leo. We'll take the time. He comes down for events for us. We'll answer questions, picks up the phone.
Yep.
Which other, we had a hard time with brokers back in the day.
Yes.
Even just picking up the phone because they were producing. That's just not how EXP set up, right?
No.
And it's amazing to have those kind of leaders at our company.
Yes. When I called her on Huddle and she picked up the phone, I almost dropped the phone. I was like, oh, I didn't know you would answer.
I didn't expect this.
Right. It was funny.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
she's
great.
sweet.
Okay, Amy. So as we wrap up, I was just going to ask her a couple questions, maybe just about, because there's so many people that are interested in becoming an agent and maybe who have a teacher background. Is there anything that you would love to share, give advice on somebody wanting to transition into real estate?
Yes, for sure. I feel like a lot of people call me and they're like, I love to look at houses. I love looking on HAR. Or they see some of our social media and they think we just have fun all the time. We go to events and we do this and we that. And yes, there are some very fun things, but this is a very hard job. So whenever someone calls me, I tell them, you have to really work hard at setting boundaries, because people will use your time 24/7. And a lot of that you want to give to them, right? You need to have a savings account of at least 6 months. There could be at any point in time in your career, 6 months where you don't make a paycheck, and could be longer. Depends on how you work. And the most important thing is this is a self-motivating job. If you wake up every morning and treat it like a real job, you'll be successful. If you don't, and you go get your hair done, and you go work out, and you go to the grocery store, you do all those things during the day, and then at night you're like, well, I didn't get any leads today. Well, yeah, because you didn't spend time picking up the phone, making the calls, and doing the hard work. So especially the beginning years are just grinding.
Grinding, for sure.
And a lot of people think, I got my license, so I'm going to have a closing. It's just not how it works.
And I cannot say anymore how much I agree with this, because we have people all the time that come over and they see these people and these teams, and they probably follow us and they see, oh wow, it's fun, and they're looking at houses. That is like a very minor part of it. Yeah, that's cool. We get to go and have events at nice, pretty houses, but it's really not about the houses.
It's not at all.
It's not.
It's about the people.
It's the people. It's all about helping them through a very stressful time.
Very.
And it is a stressful job. You can't be in this career and be like, oh, I'm not stressed. It is stressful.
It is stressful.
I got on high blood pressure medicine at 37 years old because it is a stressful, but it's really rewarding because you're helping people, but you have to do the work. It's not going to be, you get your license and you get, $100,000 in your bank account.
No,
it does not work that.
No, it is definitely not like that. And so I think in the first really and truly 6 weeks, you can tell if someone's going to make it or not.
Yeah.
Are they dedicated? Are they coming into the office? Are they putting people in their sphere? Are they reaching out? If you're afraid to pick up the phone and do a cold call, do not get into real estate, period.
No.
Do not. If you're afraid to put yourself out there on social media, do not get into real estate. I mean, there are just some very hardcore basic facts. Like when someone says, I don't like all the social media, this is not for you.
Yeah.
People have to know that you're doing your job and that you're out there working it, and they have to see that you're willing to do what it takes.
Absolutely.
So I don't want to do a silly dance on TikTok either, but I will.
I love I love all of your stuff. I am like that other person that doesn't like to do social media, but I love your stuff. I'm always cracking up.
Yes, we have the best social media manager
That's
ever.
amazing. So, I love that. But even more reason to be on a team, because you have a social media manager that's able to offer their like knowledge and their expertise on this stuff. You know, I love that, you know, and you have to stand out.
You do.
How are you going to there's so many people that are realtors that have their license. Like, how are you going to, you have to be willing. One of the things that I think is important too is willing to call and ask for the business. You have to ask. It's not just picking up the phone and like having a conversation. It's, you know, how can I help you? Or what can I do to become your agent? You know, I think that gets missed sometimes.
It does.
Too.
What value do you bring to the table?
Yes.
Like, because you're right. There are 43,000 realtors in the city of Houston. So how am I going to stand out and be different? And what value am I going to give my clients? What education am I going to give them? The things that they're looking for. Because, I mean, anybody can go show a house. It's not about showing the house.
So, okay. So kind of to wrap up a little bit more is, if anybody is looking to find you, do you want to share your contact information with them?
Absolutely. My phone number is 832-392-8818. Our website is thelippincott.com. And we're on all the socials. Just search for the Lippincott team.
Awesome.
And you can see all of our fun dances.
Yes. And if you're an agent and you're wanting to join us and join our collaboration group at EXP, definitely reach out because we'd love to have you. We can both set up a time with you, or you can reach out to Amy directly. We love it here and would be honored to have you with us.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. This has been the best change of our life, and this has been the best fit for our culture ever.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Amy.
So fun.
I love it. So fun.